Hi everyone, and welcome back to donnajowrites. I'm sorry for being a little bit absent recently, just with the pregnancy, and my sister just got married. Things have been really hectic, but I'm back at it. Now have made myself a good schedule, so we're going to be jumping straight back in. So today's subject is how I set up my books in Scrivener. So we are going to jump into some screen capture, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how I set them up. Okay, so here you can see I've jumped straight into Scrivener. So as you can see, I've got your working novel template. So this is an adapted version of Scrivener's own novel template. So you will see some similarities, but there's a lot of extra stuff that I have added in. Let's first start off with my binder. So as you can see, the novel format is in there, and then I've created a folder for ideas, research and inspiration, characters, other lore, so any background information, that kind of thing, locations, extras, outline, and then there's manuscript, my templates, and then the front matter right at the bottom, because I don't really deal with that at the moment. So let's start at the top with the format. This is from the original template, so that is just the standard manuscript format, how to use the template, etc. Then I have a folder for ideas. So under ideas, I have a section for brainstorming, and then I have a little section for questions that need answers. So as I'm going through, I will come up with questions that I need. So for instance, what was the reason so-and-so did X thing? Or for an example, I've also got Project Lock and Key open. So I hope I don't give you any spoilers, but I've got so questions. I said, what is the prince's plan, and that kind of thing. So I just have to kind of, bits and pieces that need to be worked out. The brainstorm section is usually filled with my document from Scalpel and other bits and pieces that I come up with along the way. And then research and inspiration is pretty self-explanatory. A recent addition that I started doing is an inspiration list. So any movies, series, pictures, dreams, poems, anything I feel like has inspired the story, I will put it into this list. And then we have characters. So I always keep a list of characters needed. So we've got your main character, antagonist, mentor, best friend, love interest. Those are the kind of stereotypes. But also in separate documents, I will keep the actual character profiles, and that's in my templates. We'll get to that in a second. And then obviously other lore is just other bits and pieces, like for instance for Project Lock and Key, my kind of working templates, or my working drafts of the background of the kingdom, of the history, of family trees. Also my drafts of the prophecy are in this folder in Project Lock and Key. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then locations, again, I've got a little document for locations needed. So primary locations, a safe place, magical place, isolated place. These are just kind of generic examples that I've put in here for the purpose of this video. So it'll be also, again, I'll work off a template. And those are all down at the bottom. And then we go through to extras. So this is literally anything that doesn't fit in the aforementioned sections. Let me see in Project Lock and Key what I've got in there. Okay, I've got nothing. In Project Lock and Key in the extras folder, I don't have anything in there, so that's fine. Sorry, I can't show you that. And then we've got the outline. So the outline I usually do in corkboard format. Now this makes it easier to just add little cards and see as they go. I'm not going to open the one in Project Lock and Key because that is going to be a spoiler. But as you can see here, I've got the plot point, so the title of the plot point, the scene, whether it's a character introduction, what happens, just very briefly. Literally, I make a rule for myself that it must fit on this little card, and I mustn't have to scroll all the way down. If I need more details, then I'll go into the actual document and add stuff there. And then obviously the manuscript, this then becomes the manuscript as I go. Obviously there's nothing in there at the moment, so you can see all my little lines there, the page breaks. The outline as well, sometimes I use the actual outline format, the outline view, sorry, in Scrivener, and that makes it easier to view all my metadata and all that kind of thing, which I will get to in a second. Okay, finally my templates. So I have a main character sheet. So that there's everything from basic stats to background to occupation, personality, habits, all the way down to the problem, the want, and the need. And then I have a standard character sheet, which is pretty much the same thing, it just doesn't have as much detail. And then I have a beat structure one. I'll skip over the symbols and color coding for now. I'll tell you one in a second. So this is, I've got other ones for beat structure. So if I want to kind of work on these for my outlining, that's what I do there. And then I've got the 8 plot points again, a different section, one for each, and I will do this for each point of view character. We've also got the basic 3-act story structure, which my friend Rianne, bless her, gave me, so I use that as well. And then we've got a setting sketch. So for those locations, this one is from the original Scrivener template. So this I haven't tweaked myself yet because I haven't really used it, but I'm planning to kind of add in my own little bits and pieces in there. So we'll go back to the symbols and the color coding. So this for me is my own code for the metadata that I used in my template. So as you can see, I've got there just the outlining symbols, and then I've got my editing code in there as well. And then for my own information, I have my full editing process written out as well. So off the back of that, let's go through to the inspector on the right hand side of the screen. So this is quite fun because when I discovered this, and yes, I went through the entire what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, pregnancy brain. I went through the entire tutorial on Scrivener when I first downloaded it. So there's a lot of stuff that I think I use that a lot of people don't use. But anyway, let's go through to like the outline. This I normally use this inspector for when I kind of do a more detailed outline, and I usually use it in conjunction with the actual outliner view on Scrivener. So the label is for different points of view. If I have more than one point of view character, I will label the document with that. So if I click that now, you can see now in the binder on the left hand side, it is now coded that blue. So I love doing this because it's easier to keep track of how many sections for each character you have, and like maybe you need to balance them, maybe you need a certain section to be in a different perspective, and you can tweak it as and when you like. Okay, status, this is pretty self-explanatory. I've got your outline, first draft, self-edit, and then so this is my kind of little editing process. As you can see, I've got stages 1 to 7. Some of these stages I do more than once, in which case I just make a note of it. But basically that is the whole process down there. And then we also have the metadata. So we are going to go through, where am I here? No, here, okay. So the metadata is my custom metadata, and you can see it now has popped up. And I've got here, so I've got, if we go back to my symbols and color coding, so my scenes are always numbered. The hash is major plot points, the star is sub or minor plot points, a plus is introduction of a new character, dashes are notes or dialogue, the little caret, the copy, is a location change or an introduction of a location, and then the little forward facing arrow is foreshadowing. So for example, here I'll say we can do character 1 is introduced, and then the major plot point is character 1 maybe dies. not my best work, but that's kind of an example of how I would use the metadata. And then now if you go into the outliner, and then I also use keywords, the project keywords at the top. So as you can see, the keywords are for me a way to keep track of the balance between subplots and romance, etc, etc. So we've got the main plot, romance, fight scenes or death, and then I'll have multiple subplots, maybe character subplots that I'm working on. So we can add, so it'll automatically color code it from the keyword that you put in. So you can see on the right hand side here I've added main plot, and then I can see which ones I'm using. So this is just for my own information to keep track of those kind of things. And then we also go to snapshots. Okay, snapshots are a great way to keep track of drafts in Scrivener. So you can make subtle changes, take a screenshot, and then you've got a record of the different versions of, say, a scene or a character description or something like that, and you can keep track of the subtle changes between the stages of your editing. So this is nice for me because I don't like to just delete anything at all, so I then have a section where I can keep track of my changes. And then of course notes, you can add comments and footnotes. Especially, I use this especially if I need to maybe change the name of something, or if I want to, perhaps I've used a placeholder and I need to make a little note to make sure that I go back and put something in as to replace that placeholder. Excuse me. So that's how I use the inspector. Of course, you've got other project notes and bits and pieces, document references. These document references, what you can do is you can add an internal reference, so you can add something from the binder, and this is where your research and inspiration section will come through. And then you can also add external resources, which I haven't used yet, but I'm very excited to start using it, because you can use anything that is like on your computer, or you can add a web link or anything like that. So that's a lot of fun. And well, I say fun, but for me it's fun anyway. So that is how I set up my novels in Scrivener. Now this is bound to change at some point. I've only just started using this template, but I tweak it as and when I feel like there need to be changes made. And if you're interested in this template, in which case I will make it available for you guys, and I'll post a link, maybe add a link in the description or something like that, because I do keep all of my projects on Dropbox anyway, so I can just send you the link if you want it. And yeah, that is all I have for you today. It's a bit of a longer one, I apologize for that. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you enjoy this kind of content. And I hope you have a lovely weekend, a lovely day, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye!